Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Arthur Joannick, manager of the Connectome service at Delta Energy Environment. Welcome to this webinar talking about connected home and customer research. I'm joined by my colleague John Slow here at Delta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar.
So we will get started as it's now 9:30 in the UK, 10:30 in Europe. So this webinar will be talking about some of the findings that our research found in the connected home area and how customers find connected home energy products and services. So the key questions that our subscribers to the connected home service and other friendly companies in the space have been asking us before doing this project were: what's the potential of the market? What products should we launch next? Which countries are the most interesting ones for connected home? How many devices will customers buy? For example, for smart plugs, we don't expect them to buy only one. So you can see on this slide all the sorts of questions that our clients ask and what this report answers.
So it was really interesting for us to do this. The connected home energy market is quite an embryonic market. Whilst companies are selling products and services today, the absolute numbers are relatively low, but there's a lot of excitement about how high those numbers can become. A lot of the buyers today in the market, or a number of them, are likely to be innovators or very early adopters, people that are attracted to new technology. So in this project, we really looked at the mass market and tried to explore how interested customers are about these products and what they might be willing to pay.
And talking about the products we looked at, so we had to limit ourselves to most of the energy products available there, starting obviously from the smart thermostat category, so the most popular product in Europe. So this is a single zone thermostat that controls the whole temperature of the house. We also looked at smart room controls, which can be smart TRVs, so the radiator valves, which can be underfloor heating controls, which can be electric panel controls. We also looked at smart lighting. So a good example of that is the Philips Hue product that's launched everywhere in the world. Mostly the value from this is to control remotely your lights and to see what's going on in your house when you're not there. Smart plugs, obviously, which you can plug any appliance to, and you can control this remotely, monitor the energy consumption. And the real value here is not save energy, but it's more to get the control of your house. In terms of services, one of the most interesting one, especially for the future, is what we call optimization of the dynamic tariffs. Dynamic tariffs are mostly available in some of the Scandinavian countries, like Sweden, Finland, and the tariffs change second by second, and therefore you can optimize this to consume your energy when prices are really low. So we looked at this. Something we call thermal efficiency reports. That's mostly a sensor in your house that monitors the temperature, and also the app measures outside weather conditions such as wind, sunshine, temperature, and it therefore detects which parts of your house will need some more insulation, or if you actually need something, or it gives you advice on actually what to do to make a better, more efficient house. Finally, the last service we looked at is a more known in the industry, the boiler diagnostics one, which allows your plumber to monitor your boiler remotely and to sometimes make a modification to avoid breaking down, or also it tells him when to go to your house to check it up. So among the 7 products and services, we would like to ask you a question. Which one do you think was the most appealing for the customers? And so you will be able to answer to tick one of the boxes. So if you think it's between 0 and 10% appeal overall, actually that's the wrong one. So which product do you find the most interesting? And which one mostly you think that customers found the most interesting between smart heating controls, smart plugs, smart lighting?
And we can see the votes coming in now. So it's completely anonymous. Don't worry, it won't be revealed who voted for what. We'll tell you what customers actually told us, and see how your perceptions compare to what customers actually think. So we'll give you another 10 or seconds or so to make your choices.
From what we see, there is no surprising result from what you are telling us. Almost 90% of you are saying that smart heating controls are the most appealing to customers. And this is what we generally found in this project, that customers usually favor smart heating controls for the value they can bring, energy saving, but also controls, convenience, and sometimes peace of mind.
What we did find that was interesting, and we'll show you in one of the next slides, is the difference in interest between smart thermostat and smart room controls. So that will come shortly.
So the key findings of this project are shown on this slide. The main finding is that customers really like the idea of connected home energy products. It's not something that they are reluctant to install. They like the idea when you describe it very well to them, when you explain it, they really like these products. As we just said, smart heating controls are the most appealing. That's almost no surprise. That's why smart thermostats, smart room controls are the most sold products in Europe today. The third key finding, and that's again not very surprising, prices are really too high today to reach mass market. Less than 10% of people today would buy connected home energy products at the current market prices. Finally, the preferred supplier of this product, where the customers would buy these products from, depends on the country you are at. So it will be very different if you ask people from Germany or from the UK or from Sweden, where people really love their energy suppliers. And this is an interesting finding for your company if you're interested in selling this. Perhaps you can think about different sales channels for your customers.
So we'll tell you a bit about these 4 findings. Of course, some of you joining the webinar, I think, are subscribing to our service, so you can read the full report and get all of the details. And those of you that are interested, that are not subscribing, but interested to talk to us more about these results, we're always happy to speak to people on a one-to-one basis and share views and perspectives.
So a quick agenda of this webinar. So John will give you a short introduction to Delta EE. We'll then speak about some of the key highlights that we found from this research. Then we will allow you to ask some questions. So if we found that you asked questions during the webinar, you can ask, and we will answer them. So to do this, you have on the application a question section, and feel free to ask any, and we will try to answer them either today or later if we don't have time to. And finally, we will give a short summary of the webinar and some details to contact us.
Thanks, Arthur. So I'll very quickly, and don't worry, this will only take a minute or two, introduce you to the range of things we do at Delta. I know some of you know Delta well, some of you don't know us at all, and some of you may only know part of what we do. This diagram here shows our focus on different aspects of heat and distributed energy. And all of this is about the transformation from an old-fashioned 20th century energy sector to a more customer-centric, distributed, service-orientated energy sector in the 21st century. You can see Connected Home at the bottom. In the middle is one of our in-depth services. We have a number of other technology-focused services. In the middle, we look across markets to look at how customers think about a variety of different technologies and produce forecasts, scenarios, demand modeling. And at the top, we're looking at innovation and particularly business models for energy services. So you can look at this at your leisure. If we move on to the next slide, these are some of the new things we're doing, or some of the highlights of our work. I mentioned our Energy Services Innovation Study, which we're very excited about. looking at business model innovation, about how to develop scalable energy service models. Energy storage service we're launching next month, and 2 other new services are around customer data analytics, which will be launched in Q1 next year, and a demand response multi-client study.
Great. So something more interesting now, talking about the highlights from our customer research study. So just to give you a bit of introduction about the research, how we went about it. The first thing we do back in April was to choose a topic among the subscribers of the Connected Home service, and everyone had needs around understanding customers better, which is why we chose to run this research. To scope exactly what we looked at, we spoke to everyone and really tried to understand what the needs were and what key questions we should answer. Therefore, to run this, we decided to use our market research partner, IFOP, a French specialist of market research with a lot of experience in doing connected home research already, both in France and internationally. And we decided to do this for the UK, France, Sweden, and Germany. And IFOP translated everything for us. Then in July, we collected the data that IFOP recorded. And this data was only from homeowners, mostly. And the type of questions we gave to them were depending on the countries they are in. For example, in Sweden, you don't have many boilers in the country, so you don't ask the same questions as for example, the UK.
And in Sweden, dynamic hourly tariffs are available, whereas they're not available in other countries. So it would be very complicated to explain the concept to people in France, where hourly tariffs are not available.
And in total, we asked questions to more than 300 homeowners per market. So that's a total of more than 1,200 people. And finally, we completed the analysis in August 2015 and published the report shortly after that. The report is available to all our subscribers to the Connected Home service, but also available to purchase as a separate report. So as we explained, the countries we looked at for different reasons. So the UK, Germany, who are the 2 biggest markets for Connected Home in Europe. France is also a very interesting market because it starts more from a smart automated shutter dynamic rather than from smart heating controls like in the other countries. And as John explained, Sweden, because of the interesting dynamic tariffs already available. And we also have the possibility to add on other countries. So one of our clients asked us to do Spain, and there is also interest in other countries like Italy or Belgium. So the questions we asked the homeowners, the first thing we did is to really try to filter the type of house they live in or the type of heating systems they have. For example, someone that doesn't have a central heating system, it's very difficult for them to imagine to have a smart thermostat. And some people have heat pumps, some people have wood-fired heating systems. So we really try to identify what kind of heating system they had to make sure we ask the right questions. We also ask questions about their age, their income, etc., just to make more of a demographical analysis. But the key questions we asked these homeowners were about the appeal of the product, how much they are willing to buy this product for. And we tested different market prices from the current market price, say €200 for a smart thermostat, and down to free. And we also tested some propositions, for example, get the product for free against a 2 or 3 years energy contract, or with a boiler replacement, etc. And the last 2 questions we asked were, as explained before, the preferred suppliers that these people would prefer to go to, for example, the energy supplier or the local plumber or the retailer, etc. And finally, in the case of smart room controls, smart plugs, smart lighting, where you can buy several products, we asked them ideally how many of these products they would like their house to be equipped with.
So one of the challenges of this work is defining the questions. There's a lot more we would like to have asked, and there's more that we'll ask when we do this type of work again. The other challenge is introducing the products in a way that customers will understand. So we worked quite hard to get very clear descriptions for customers, but this obviously is one area where intelligent marketing of products can maybe influence the level of appeal and the desire of customers to buy, because the emotional appeal, as we all know, is very important as well as the technical functionality.
Exactly. This is why we chose to work with IFOP on this particular project, because their experience of explaining such things to their for the online service, and we have the experience of having the right words and understanding the products very well to actually explain this very quickly and very smartly to customers. So in terms of how the final report has been designed, three main parts really. One, a lot about the introduction and methodology, which is really important for customer research. The second part is, as this screenshot shows, the results by product category across the countries, really showing how appealing the products are, how much people are willing to pay for it, etc. And we did this for all the products we had, from smart thermostats, smart lighting, etc. Finally, for each country, we did an individual country analysis, and with a slide on each product for each country. So, for example, a smart thermostat slide in Sweden, we gave information: how appealing is it, how much people are willing to pay, which suppliers they will go to, etc.
For those that really want to dig into it, there's the raw data in the Excel file that we're able to share as well.
I think it jumped very quickly. Sorry about that. So the first key finding we wanted to show you in this webinar was actually the results of appeal of each of these products and services from the customers. So the blue bars here represent the difference between the countries. So for example, Germany and France are topping the appeal of most of these products, while Sweden is at the bottom of the appeal for all the products and services. This graph shows that really smart heating controls, the two products on the left, so smart room controls and smart thermostats, are clearly the most appealing products in Europe today. And that's no surprise that these products are the most sold in Europe.
What's also interesting is that none of the products we tested are particularly unappealing. If you look at the right-hand side and remote diagnostics, in Germany, this means that around half of the market finds the concept of remote diagnostics appealing. And when the awareness of it today is so low, we actually think, even though it's the lowest scoring product or service of the ones we tested, it's an encouraging result. So quite high scores for all the different product and service categories.
Yeah, and as you said, that once all the big players will do big marketing campaigns. So, for example, in Germany, you have a lot of smart room controls or smart thermostats on TV. Once the awareness raises, we can expect the appeal of these products to go up as well.
What was interesting in the survey, 88% of you thought smart heating controls would have the highest appeal. So you can see that 88% of you were right. But as I said earlier, the customer interest in multi-zonal heating controls, so that, as Arthur said, might be a connected TRV, is higher in some markets than for a smart thermostat. And yet, if you look at what's on the market, there's a lot of smart thermostats on the market and not so many smart zonal heating controls.
So the first slide we wanted to show you coming from the report was talking about smart heating controls in the UK. So on the bottom left, you can see the difference in appeal between smart thermostats and multi-zonal systems, smart room controls. The green being very appealing, the orange being quite appealing. So you can see similar levels around 65-70% in the UK, which is really interesting. That means almost 2/3 of the homeowners in the UK will be willing to buy smart thermostats. On the right-hand side, it shows the perceived value that these homeowners will find from smart thermostats after explaining them what they could get from that. And a bit surprisingly, what we found is that saving energy, so where the green star is, saving energy is what they find on paper the most interesting from smart thermostats. What actually we found by speaking to a lot of industry players is that when people get these products, energy savings, this is not the key thing. It's more about control and convenience. But obviously, the people that are being asked these questions online didn't know about these products, and obviously, reducing their energy bill is something really interesting.
So in terms of positioning a product in the market, talking about reducing energy consumption, reducing energy bills is obviously going to be a very important part of product positioning. Well, that's what our market research is telling us.
So just jumping on quickly, this slide shows the results for smart thermostats in Germany. And on the left-hand side, you can see we tested different prices for the people who say they found it appealing and asked, would you be willing to pay €250 for a smart thermostat, yes or no? And testing different prices, 150, 150, up until free. And you can see that today at current market price, which is about €250 for a smart thermostat, almost no one would be willing to buy the product. So as we explained before, this is a market for early adopters, the geeks, the people who like the technology. But the people, the mass market is not yet willing to pay such prices for a smart thermostat. However, we can see that when reducing the price dramatically to €100, €50, even free, we reach interesting numbers. So 70-80% of the interested people are actually willing to buy them. So key finding will be how to reduce the prices to make sure that we reach as many customers as possible. In the middle, the kind of green bars shows different customer positions we tested with them. One of them being just buy the product up front compared to buying the product on a monthly basis, which was the most interesting. But in the two middle green bars here show that people are really interested in having a product for free when having a 3 years energy contract or when replacing the boiler. So it is really important for connected home providers to really think about ways to hide the costs. And obviously, if you're a boiler manufacturer and sell a boiler, it will be very easy for you to upsell a smart thermostat. Same for an energy supplier. If you want to lock in your customer into an energy contract, as you doing so with a smart thermostat is very interesting.
So the people that we think will succeed in the market are the companies that can extract value in other ways rather than just relying on the value they get or the money they get from the product sale. So an obvious example of that, as Arthur said, is an energy supply company that can bundle a smart thermostat into a 2-year or 3-year energy supply contract. And they may be able to offer the thermostat at a lower price because they can extract the value of that longer-term customer relationship or that longer energy supply contract, or using the smart thermostat as a way to have a different type of relationship with the customer and sell other products and services. So companies that can do this and offer a lower upfront cost to customers will, according to our research, dramatically be able to increase the volume of product that they sell.
And again, as we said before, it really depends on who the preferred supplier for the customers is. So as you can see on the right-hand side of this slide, the preferred route to market for German customers will really be the local plumber, so the local installer, the handyman, the guy that they actually trust. And therefore, in order to reduce the cost, you need to find enough value for this local man to actually sell actively the product to customers, which is quite interesting because in other countries, if it's an energy supplier, it's a different story and the value can be found somewhere else.
Well, it doesn't mean that we think you can only go through the local plumber in Germany, but clearly that's a perception of the customers that if you're not going through that market, you have to address that perception and explain why the value is, or the value of going through a different route.
So, just asking you a quick question now. We talked about the UK a bit, about Germany as well. We wanted to ask you, what do you think is the most popular channel in France? So as for before, you will have a few choices, and if you can just tick one, and we will tell you the results afterwards. So again, the different routes are energy supplier, retailer, plumber, boiler manufacturer, maybe the smart thermostat provider.
Just to remind you, the votes are anonymous. We don't know who voted for who, so you can all have a go, even if you're not sure.
So let's give you another 5-10 seconds to complete this. And there are already some trends, some interesting trends.
87% of you have voted, so last few seconds to get your votes in.
Okay, we will now close this poll and share the findings with you. So, from what you think, energy suppliers by 43% are the favorite channels for customers in France, followed by the local plumber and the retailer. And actually, these results are quite interesting, because what we found in France is that there is no preferred route to market yet for customers. It's really 50-50 between energy suppliers, retailers, and smart thermostat providers from where we see.
33,
33, exactly. And the results show that, again, there is no clear route to market today for France, which means there is an opportunity for your type of business to raise awareness, to be a leading connected home provider, and then show to customers that you are the leading player there. So well done to you all for finding this.
The slides are jumping about a bit, so we'll just get back to the right place.
So, talking about Sweden now, some of the results for what we talk about the dynamic tariff optimization. As you can see on the left-hand side, the appeal for Swedish respondents to have some kind of product that manages the dynamic tariffs for them is relatively high. I would say around 50% of them will be willing to install such product, mostly because these products are saving energy for them and using what's in place already.
And so an example of this product is a heat pump that will look up automatically the day ahead hourly energy prices and then shape its operation according to the day ahead prices, or a oil boiler with an electric immersion heater, and depending on the hourly prices, it will arbitrage between oil heating or electric heating.
However, although people are really interested in having these products, the right-hand side graph shows that for current market price, so say 250 euro and down to 100 euro, very, very few people will be actually willing to pay for such products. So it will be up to the energy suppliers, or, as John explained, the heat pump manufacturers, for example, to actually subsidize the costs or hide the costs through an energy contract or through the purchase of the heating system.
It's an expectation that this product would be free or very low cost.
Yeah,
if you come to market with a higher price product, then you won't get much traction.
And the final slide we wanted to share with you is an example of a product slide comparing the countries. So this is smart lighting, actually comparing the UK and Germany. For both countries, smart lighting was the 5th favorite product overall among products and services. So compared to smart heating control, smart plugs, it's not a very, very interesting product for people. And the willingness to pay for such product, it costs around 200 euro to buy a Philips Hue today for a gateway and 3 light bulbs. Almost no one will be willing to pay such price to get the remote control of the lights. However, when reducing the price to 50 euro or even to 3, then we start to get an interesting number, around 30-40% of the market. And that can be explained by the fact that light is a commodity and people can find light bulbs in retail shops for a few euros. And therefore, the value for them is not strong enough to spend so much money. Interestingly, most of the people say they will be willing to install three packages of this 3 light bulbs, so between 9 and 10 light bulbs for the house, and therefore, I think people, once they have seen the value from smart lighting, they will be willing to install their full house with it.
But it doesn't look to us like a product that's going to fly off the shelves particularly quickly, particularly at the current market prices.
So it will be interesting to see if other players than Philips Hue come into the market with disruptive prices and therefore see the customer reaction to these prices. So talking a bit about next steps from the Connected Home service. So we did this research 2 months ago, but that's not the only report we published under the service. We have done a lot of work in this space recently in Delta, both on the research and consulting side. We, as part of the service, we annually do the country reports and the European market report, which looks at the state of the market today, what products are selling, what players are selling, what functionalities do customers really like. And
importantly, what we think will happen in the next years. So based on our knowledge of the industry, our research, our contacts in our network, our views of how the market will develop in the next years.
And we did this for 8 countries so far, like the main ones, so France, UK, Germany, Netherlands, but also smaller markets like Denmark, Spain, Italy, which are also quite interesting because the dynamics are very different from one to another. The last public webinar we did was on the Connected Home infrastructure. So if you had the chance to look at this webinar, that will be familiar. But if you didn't see it, it's available on our website. This talked about platforms and the war between the Apple, Google, Samsung. Also about protocols. So the battle between the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, kind of mobile phone industry, and the new ones from Zigbee, Z-Wave, Thread, more on the Connected Home side. We did a report last year on business models. So again, when looking at the prices today, they are too high, and therefore, how can you reduce the prices without while monetizing smart home? So really, we listed 20 values that look at connected home and how can your business find enough value to offer these products at a very low price or for free. And some of the future research we will do in the service, we might do more customer research in the future, more countries or more depths, or maybe some qualitative research as opposed to quantitative. We will publish the states of the European market in a few weeks. So again, looking at Europe, what's happening today, what has been sold very well in the last 12 months, and mostly why. And the next topic we'll look at is what we call boiler and connectivity, or heating appliances and connectivity. So how can smart heating controls actually connect to all the heating systems available in different countries? So from TRVs to heat pumps to boilers, etc. So really looking at how you can connect your product to heating systems. So this shows you a bit of the, if you're a subscriber, that shows you what you have access to on the website. So on the top left corner, you have access to all the in-depth reports. So the customer research was the one published in September 2015. You have access to the report and all the data available. And you have a list of all the reports that were done since the start of the service. On the right-hand side, you can see which products we think about doing, which reports we think about doing. For example, as we say, connectivity and boilers or European installer survey are some. We are not short of topics, so that's quite interesting. And our subscribers talk mostly about. We ask our subscribers what kind of topics they would be interested in us doing, but then again we decide based on the market dynamics which topics to look at. Again, on the service, you have access to all the country reports, which individually looks at what's happening in each of these countries. We do private webinars, so similar to these webinars, but sharing much more insights about the reports we published recently. We did a report last year on all the products and partnerships available in the European markets. So that's a screenshot at what's available on the websites. So this gives you at least a good overview of what the Connected Home service provides to the subscribers.
Okay, we've got quite a few questions. So a reminder that you can ask us questions using the questions box on the interface panel on the website. And if you can't find the interface panel, then if you click the red arrow on the top right of your screen, then that will bring up the interface panel. So you can send questions directly to us through the questions part of that panel.
The first question we have do you know why the products are seen as less appealing in Sweden, even though energy consumption is high in this country, because probably of the colder winters? Well, one thing, when we look at the results, it's quite interesting to see that it's less appealing in Sweden. And one of the reasons is the housing stock in the Nordic countries is much better. It's a much better quality there. It's much better insulated. People often have triple glazing windows, and therefore there is less room for improvements with, for example, smart heating controls, which means that in the UK, with poorly insulated buildings, people can save 15, 20, 30% on their heating bill. While in Sweden, the value will be very much lower because actually there is not much loss in heat.
The other interesting angle there, I think, is how people heat their homes. So in a country like the UK, we have high temperature heating systems, and the heating system is often programmed to come on in the morning, off during the middle of the day, on in the evening, off during the night. In other markets, particularly with underfloor heating, and that's more popular in Sweden than it is in some other countries, then the heating system operates on a more constant basis, maybe with a setback to a lower temperature at certain times. So the perceived need to control heating may be lower in Sweden than it is in other countries.
Another question, in total, do people prefer individual room controls rather than smart thermostats? That's a very good question, actually. So do people prefer to have the control of every room in the house, or just the control of the overall temperature? What we found out is when explain the values to people, therefore there are more potential energy savings from smart room controls. People very slightly prefer smart room controls, but not by much. And therefore that means that people actually like to get just the control of what's happening in the house, and they can themselves program individually the rooms manually. And the thing is, for smart room controls, the price of such installation can go up very quickly to 600-700 euros.
Even thousands.
Even thousands. Yeah. We did quotes for John's house, and that was more than £1,000 here in the UK, because the installation of such products takes a lot of time, because you need to install one product in every room. So although the potential higher energy savings are quite interesting, it is much more expensive upfront to install these products, and therefore people would prefer to go for the smart thermostat first.
So that does, we think, create an opportunity for smart individual room controls if it can be done at a lower cost than some of the offerings on the market today. We've got a question about hot water controls and the appeal of controlling hot water. And that's an interesting question. And the simple answer is we didn't explore that because we were limited in terms of how many different things we could explore in this piece of customer research.
But this was a value that we explained from smart thermostats. So most of the smart thermostats today are able to control heating and hot water. So we didn't make the difference between both. That was a package for people. And one question about this: why people don't like to program the smart thermostats? Is it because programming is very complex? Well, when you look at traditional thermostats, it's often a white molded box that has been around for a decade, and that probably was set up by the plumber when it was installed. And the industry told us that they found that lots of people never touch this programming thing, because it's very difficult to understand. There is a small screen, there are big buttons that are scary. And as opposed to this, now with smart thermostat, people get an app on their phone. They're already used to set up apps, and therefore it's very friendly for them to control this. So it's not about it's about really improving the customer engagement with its heating control, while before it was only stuck on the wall with a very small screen and not really appealing to them.
And the interaction with the smart thermostat actually was something we talked a lot about in our Connected Home summit that we held in March last year, and we'll be holding a similar summit around the same time in Amsterdam next year. Taking the customer on a journey and trying to get the level of interaction between the customer and the interface, the user interface, to a high level is a key objective of many smart thermostat manufacturers. And the ones that are doing that well, I think, are taking the customers on a journey and are getting levels of interaction of several interactions a week, which impressed us when you look at the frequency that people currently interact with their traditional heating controls. It's orders of magnitude less. So high interaction can be obtained, but it's there's a lot to get right to do that.
So I think we'll be short of time. So there are other questions that we don't have time to answer. We will get back to you individually to answer these questions. One of them was, will this webinar be available to download? The answer is yes. We will send to you a YouTube link to watch again this webinar. And if you want the slides, just email us and we will send you the slide on a PDF. So just a summary of what we talked about in this webinar. Again, the 4 key findings from our research was that customers are really interested in installing Connected Home energy products. The overall appeal is higher than 50-60%, and that has been done before all these marketing campaigns will be launched this heating season. So we expect these numbers to even grow. Smart heating controls are the most appealing, as most of you guessed, probably because of the potential energy savings, the controls and convenience that you can get from your house. But obviously prices are really too high today. 250 euros for a smart thermostat is not affordable enough for the mass market. Therefore, all the companies involved, we need to find ways to subsidize all these products. Finally, the preferred Connected Home supplier will vary from one country to another. We saw that in Germany, the local handyman was really trusted, while in other countries like France, it's really undecided yet who will be the preferred one.
So we hope that you found this webinar interesting. We know time is really valuable, and we thank you for taking the time to join the webinar and listen and see some highlights of our research. We're always interested in talking with you. Obviously, we're very interested if you would like to subscribe to our service, and would be happy to talk with you and tell you about that. But we're also interested to have relationships with people in the market and interested in the market. So if you're attending any of the big Connected Home conferences, if you'd like to speak with us over the phone, exchange views by email, come to one of our offices, we're always very happy and interested to meet you, explore how the market's developing, exchange perspectives.
Yeah, and I will be at the European Utility Week next week in Vienna. So if you want to organize a meeting to chat about this research, about anything else in the Connected Home space, I'll be very happy to meet you and to have a chat with you.
So thank you again. We're bang on 45 minutes. So one of our objectives was keeping to time, which we've done. We'll get back to you if you ask a question that we weren't able to answer, and send you a link to the recording. You can register for news on our website. You can look at the blogs that we write. And thank you again for your time. And we look forward to keeping in touch with you in the future.
Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.